Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It is so good to see you again. I hope that everybody is doing well and you're having a wonderful week. And in today's video, I am so excited for this video. Oh my goodness, it is time again for our Makeup Through the Decade series, and this is my partner up day with Queenie over at Makeup Queenie68. And guys, if you have not been over to her channel to check that out, you are going to love her. So I will have her linked up in the iCard so that you will have an easy time navigating over there to see her look. But we are doing makeup from the 70s today. So we're going to be talking about events that happened during the 70s, and we are going to be just having a look at how I got this look, which is inspired from the 70s. So if you're interested in seeing that, go ahead and click that subscribe button, ring that bell, because you're not going to want to miss a thing. And let's get started with this look. Like I said, I am doing this with my friend Queenie over on Makeup Queenie68. This is from our series Makeup Through the Decades, and we are going to be talking a little bit about the 1970s. And so this is a series that I dearly love, and I am going to get started. So one of the makeup products that I remember actually having, they still sold this whenever I got to about 14 and my mother started letting me play around with some makeup. One of the things that I actually owned, and let's see if I can get this to come up on my phone and I'll let you see this. I think I may have taken a picture. Yes. This was by Maybelline, and this was their Ultra Velvet and Ultra Frost powder shadows. And I had several of these. Let's see if you can see that. In different colors. And so this is kind of my inspiration for the look. And this is what I remember from sort of the 1970s, is that people, one, they used applicators, sponge tip applicators to apply their makeup. I never used a brush. I never had a makeup brush ever. It was always a sponge tip applicator that I used. I used either a CoverGirl Quad or I used the Maybelline shadows that look like this. And I had a few different colors. And so the makeup styles was very monochromatic, if you will. And so I guess the best way that, or the best palettes that I have to represent that monochromatic look is my ColourPop palettes, and I am going to be using the Lilac a lot, and it's my pleasure to sort of give me that vibe, and I'm going to try and use mostly from my Lilac a lot palette. I am going to go in with this shade in this palette that is kind of a light shade right here called Zoned Out, and I'm going to take that pretty high up. I'm not going with a heavy brow today. I'm not going to really do my brows today because they really didn't have heavy brows back then from the looks that I've seen. And I am actually going to use, I'm really going to use this picture as my inspiration for the look that I'm going to try to create. And I've got a couple of pictures. I've got that one. I've got this look as well, but I'm really going to be focusing on more of because this is the era when Great Lash came out as well. It came out in the 70s. So I'm going to be focusing on lashes. I'm going to be focusing on just really using just a couple of colors and more of a simple lip. So I'm going to be doing a monochromatic eyeshadow look with a more nude lip. I got my inspiration in this picture. I've got another picture for inspiration, which is this picture. So it really shouldn't probably take me too long to knock out this eye look. I've already got on a little bit of blush and my foundation. I'm just using the number 7, the Protect and Perfect All-in-One Hydrating. This is the one that I've really been loving lately, so I'm still loving it. And I can still remember basically doing my eyeshadow like this. I just would go all the way up with one color. I was done. I just smeared it all over the lid, one color, and I was out the door. That's the way I would get ready. So in the 1970s, let's see, we sort of left off, you know, with the Vietnam War in the 60s was, you know, coming to an end, and, you know, people were coming home, and that's sort of where, you know, the 60s ended up. And so, you know, enter the 1970s, we've got all of these GIs coming home, and, you know, people, most people, a lot of people really did not support the war. And so, you know, you had a lot of people coming back to less than a welcomed response, which was very unfortunate for our GIs because, you know, remember, they were drafted. They were not, a lot of these guys lost their lives over there and they didn't want to go. And I have a very unique perspective on this because I was married to a Vietnamese guy. My son is half Vietnamese, and so, you know, I was married to a South Vietnamese person, and who was, you know, a little boy when the Vietnam War began, and you know, in Saigon. And so, you know, I have quite the different perspective on this. And you know, the Southern Vietnamese people, you know, it was just a mess on everybody's part. But you had these people coming back to the United States who had not wanted to go there, who were forced to go there. You had this war that didn't do anybody any good. And then, you know, here you are with all these casualties. And it was just a horribly horrific situation. And you had all of these protests. And so, so one of the things that, you know, I do not know that much about because I was very, very young, but I do know the music from it, was the Kent State incident. And, you know, my husband knows the music very, very well. But one of the things that was very profound to me was, you know, and my husband is a big music junkie, so I remember whenever we were riding in the car and he played me this song and he told me about this. And so the lyrics says, 10 soldiers in Nixon coming, we're finally on our own. This summer I hear the drumming, 4 dead in Ohio. Gotta get down to it. Soldiers are cutting us down. Should have been done long ago. What if you knew her and found her dead on the ground? How can you run when you know? Got to get down to it. Soldiers are cutting us down. Should have been done long ago. What if you knew her and found her dead on the ground? How can you run when you know? 10 soldiers and Nixon coming. We're finally on our own. This summer I hear the drumming. 4 dead in Ohio. So, you know, Kent State's in Akron, Ohio. And so there was a, you know, it's not a very big school either. Kent State's very small. So there was a protest there. Nothing was out of order. They called in the National Guard to mediate the protest, and somebody in the National Guard went a little crazy, got a hot head, fired off their gun, and boom, killed 4 students. So, you know, not unlike some of the craziness we see today. So, Neil Young wrote of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young wrote that song about that incident at Kent State. So, yeah, it was a very volatile time. And, you know, like I said, I was very young girl at this particular time, because that was in 72. That happened in 72. Along with, you know, here we are, we're having you know, Watergate. Not unlike, not so much different than what's, you know, going on today. So, you know, here we are, we're having a president who's resigning. You know, things are coming out in the wash. You know, Nixon ends up resigning. You know, craziness being watched all over for the United States. So that was something else that was going on in the 70s. Probably the biggest thing going on in the 70s was Watergate. So, you know, crazy. So you had that. So politically, that was what was going on. You had, gosh, OPEC and oil prices out the roof. I remember, you know, waiting with my parents, you know, in long gas lines. I remember some of that. Let's see. Disco. Okay, disco. So disco was really popular with, so 54 was going on and crazy. And you had all of the party going on. And, you know, this was before the onset of the AIDS crisis, and everything was kind of free love. And you had, of course, we had talked about Stuart Brand and his Whole Earth catalog, I think is what it's called. I get it confused with Whole Foods. So, One Earth or Whole Earth, the Whole Earth catalog is what I believe it's called. And, you know, everybody, he was trying to kind of promote this whole, I think it's called Whole Earth Catalog, Whole World, Whole Earth Catalog, where, you know, you could just buy anything out of that catalog. And it's sort of like back then, sort of akin to what maybe Amazon is today. But you had the onset of Apple and Microsoft get started in the 70s. So, you know, really big tech was born in the 70s. So, you know, we had that get started. And then, you know, disco was big in the entertainments, but also really a lot of cult classic entertainment, if you will. You know, movies and TV shows, that type of thing. So I think that this was when this is the very first era that I really associate my identity with a movie and with a year. And I know when something really happened for me. I know the year that, you know, something that I went to see a movie, and that, you know, this came out at a certain time. And that was Star Wars came out in the 70s, at the end of the 70s, 77, 78, and Grease came out at the same time. I know that Star Wars was playing in the theaters at the same time that Grease was playing in the theaters, because I had to make a choice. I could go see one or the other, and I chose Grease. I couldn't go see both. I had to choose one or the other. And I think I went to see Grease maybe 10 times in the theater. I never chose Star Wars. Every time it was Grease. I was in love with John Travolta and anything that he played in. So does anyone remember that? I think it was in 1978, I want to say. I think those were the years. Oh my goodness. Okay, for some highlight, I have to have some type of highlighter. I have to. But there's nothing in here that, everything in here is, this one called Cloud might be okay. Maybe I'll try that one. I don't want it to be too much. I'm worried that it'll be too much. So let me try this one. I'm going to go in with this one right here, and it's kind of just a light lilac-y color. Because they really wore a lot of highlighter. Okay, so I think that my eye look is finished. But I think I might do a little bit to my brows. I'm going to rough those in just a little bit. I think they're just a little bit too light. So, And now I am going to step off camera really quickly and just finish up with some eyeliner and some mascara and do my lips, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, I am back with my final look, and I'm liking this final look. I have a little bit more highlight on than I would normally wear, but this is a 70s inspired makeup look, so I think it looks pretty 70s to me. So yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments. I just put on a very neutral lip. This is the Very Victoria by Charlotte Tilbury. I really like the shade. I actually am loving the shade. It's just a good, it just pretty much goes with anything. It's a very, very good neutral shade. So yeah, let me know what you think. I'll come in. I think this is a pretty good monochromatic eye look. I used basically 2 colors and the highlight. So yeah, I kind of think this is what I did when I first started wearing eyeshadow. I really never wore eyeshadow in the 70s. It started in the 80s, so this is really basically leftover from I guess what I did in the 80s, but I was trying to go with what I saw from the 70s. So yeah, let me know what some of your memories were from the 70s. Of course, you know, Farrah Fawcett, Jaclyn Smith, Cheryl Ladd, let's see, who was the other angel? Oh, Queenie and I just talked about this. Who played Sabrina? Kate Jackson. Kate Jackson was the one that played Sabrina. So those were the original Charlie's Angels. And of course, you know, Farrah Fawcett had the iconic poster from the 70s. I think every guy had that poster in their room of her in her swimsuit. I think yeah, that's basically what I remember, and all appliances were Harvest Gold, Avocado Green, the Rust color. Let's see, there was a brown. Yeah. Yeah, throw out some of the memories that you remember. Smokey and the Bandit, was that the 80s or was that the 70s? I'm not sure. But I definitely know that Star Wars and Grease was in the 70s. Oh my goodness, yes. And I still will watch Grease every single chance I get. So yeah, let me know some of your favorite memories from the 70s. I hope that you are liking this series that Queenie and I are doing. We are most certainly loving strolling down memory lane. And so next month, we will be taking a trip through the 80s. I can't wait. Oh my goodness. And I know that she's excited for it too, because that is our era. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait to give you some big hair and talk about, because that is whenever I actually was wearing makeup. I was a senior in high school. Oh my goodness. Oh, let me tell you, and I was from the South, so the hair could not get big enough. Let me tell you, it is going to be some fun times next month, so stay tuned for that. So yeah, let me know some of your cool memories from the 70s. What were you loving during the 70s? Let me know in the comments below. I can't wait to talk to you about that. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, or if you are here from Queenie's channel, hi, my name is Jeannie. We have a ball over here And I would love to have you hit that subscribe button and become part of the family over here. And while you're there, go ahead and hit the post notification bell. That way you don't miss a thing. And until next time, mwah, smooches everybody. Bye-bye for now.